Joe Rogan, Fulton County, FEMA, Sheila Surfalis McCormick, the Department of Justice. Now, those names matter a lot because once you hear them together, the story completely changes. Now, Joe Rogan, he didn't set out to blow anything up. He wasn't campaigning. He wasn't accusing. He was just doing what Joe Rogan does best, asking simple questions out loud and then following it wherever it leads. And what it led to made people very uncomfortable because while Joe Rogan was reacting in real time, Fulton County, Georgia, quietly admitted something very stunning. 315,000 early votes were verified without required poll worker signatures. Now think about that for a second. Not allegedly, not rumored, admitted, and all of a sudden, a conversation that the media told you was settled wasn't so settled anymore. And at the exact same time, something else cracked open. The Department of Justice indicted a sitting Florida Democrat, Sheila Surfalis McCormick, for allegedly stealing $5 million in FEMA disaster funds. And as the scrutiny intensified, a photo was quietly edited. A luxury ring vanished. No explanation. Just gone. Now, let's pause right here for a second, okay? Election irregularities in Georgia, confirmed federal fraud tied to FEMA, visual damage control after indictment. I mean, come on. Oh, and a media class treating each one of these as isolated, unrelated stories. Look here, Joe Rogan noticed the pattern, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And this is exactly what today's video is about. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, guys, Joe Rogan didn't just walk into this like an activist or some partisan. No, he walked into it as Joe Rogan, the curious, skeptical outsider that's reacting in real time as contradictions stacked up. Now, on his podcast, Rogan, he read the details, he paused, and you can pretty much hear the shift. There was no outrage. There was just recognition. That's the red pill moment that people are freaking out about. Rogan wasn't endorsing anybody. He wasn't making like grand claims. He was just noticing that the story kept on requiring more excuses, more footnotes, and more trust. And when Rogan simply asked why, the backlash was immediate. That's the tension. In 2025, noticing patterns is treated as basically an act of aggression for whatever reason. Ask questions and you suddenly get labeled. Connect the dots and you're attacked. Well, Joe Rogan, he didn't change. What changed is that millions of viewers, they recognize themselves right in that pause. The moment when curiosity turns into doubt. Oh, I don't believe this crap. That kind of doubt, right? This is the moment when you realize that the problem isn't disagreement. The problem is that some questions aren't allowed to exist anywhere. So let me talk about Fulton County for a second, okay? Talking about Fulton County, Georgia, because this is where the story stops being theoretical. Fulton County admitted that roughly 315,000 early votes, they were verified without required poll worker signatures on tabulator tapes. Now that matters. That really matters. I'll tell you why. Those signatures exist for a reason. They certify machines started at 0 and totals are authentic, meaning that they're legit. They can be trusted. This is not about accusing voters. This is about procedure. So when a county certifies results without completing legally required steps, trust erodes instantly. Why would you skip that step? Are you not able to verify? Are you not able to validate? Are the votes real? Right? So the question is, why certification moved forward anyway? Why were safeguards treated like they were optional? And so why was the public told that this was settled when compliance wasn't met? In any system, banking, aviation, medicine, skipping mandatory checks triggers investigations, right? Elections should be no different. Yet, here we are. I mean, and the response wasn't urgency, it was dismissal. And that's the bombshell. Not that mistakes happened, but that the violations were acknowledged and they were like normalized after the fact by officials who demanded unquestioning acceptance from everyone. Here's really where the probability enters the conversation, okay? And why people get a little uncomfortable in this. In Fulton County, Georgia, 36 of the 37 advanced voting locations with unsigned tabulator tapes, they were located in overwhelmingly Democrat precincts. Anybody notice a pattern here? That's not rhetoric, that's just math. No one is actually claiming intent. No one is accusing voters, but consistency matters. Now, if errors were random, you would expect them to be scattered across political lines, Democrats and Republicans, right? But they didn't. They were clustered. And when patterns cluster, questions follow. Now, flip this scenario for a second, okay? If 36 of 37 violations occurred in Republican-heavy counties, would the reaction from the media and political class be calm reassurance, or would they be losing their ever-loving minds? Or would nonstop coverage and investigations start? I mean, you already know the answer to this. This is not about outcomes, it's about standards. Equal scrutiny is the foundation of legitimacy. And when one side gets the benefit of mistakes happen and the other side gets instant suspicion, public confidence collapses instantly. So this is why Joe Rogan paused, because he wasn't seeing chaos, he was seeing consistency. And consistency demands explanation, not dismissal. Now this pattern right here, it shows up in people's lives in ways that never make headlines. A retiree reached out to me recently and told me that she lost over $1,200 last year without even realizing it. No fraud, no scam, just a Medicare plan that quietly cost more than it needed to. And she said that money would have covered my groceries for months. Does that resonate with anybody else? Because it resonates with me. And this is the part that really sticks with you. Because just like with elections or government spending, the damage doesn't always come from something dramatic. Sometimes it just comes from things no one bothered to double check. And this is why I partner with Chapter. They go line by line through your Medicare coverage and they find the money that's being wasted before another year slips away. Now, most people don't even know that they're overpaying until it's too late. And this is why so many are already calling the phone number at the bottom of your screen right here, 909-563-8279, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron to have theirs reviewed for free, by the way. All right, so let's get back to the story, because what comes next, this is where the pattern gets impossible to ignore. Elections don't survive on vibes. They don't. They survive on trust in process, okay? That's the core issue here. So when legally required safeguards are skipped or ignored, it doesn't matter who wins. Confidence dies either way. That is why unsolved questions from 2020 still matter now, especially with Donald J. Trump back in office as president in 2025. Now, this is not ancient history. These doubts were never addressed. They were buried. And burying doubt doesn't erase it, it compounds it. Institutions don't get credibility by demanding trust. They earn it through transparency and accountability. When officials wave off violations as harmless, they're telling the public rules are flexible depending on context. That's dangerous, very dangerous, because once people stop believing that systems are fair, they stop believing outcomes are legitimate. That's the bridge that Joe Rogan has crossed in real time, from casual curiosity to institutional skepticism. And that bridge right there, that bridge is being crossed by millions of Americans who they're not partisan, they're just paying attention. And so this is where the silence gets loud. Mainstream media, they had endless curiosity for years when narratives helped one side. Anonymous sources, selective panels, speculative panels, breathless coverage, no evidence required. But when it comes to procedural election failures in Fulton County, Georgia, somehow the tone flips overnight. Suddenly it's technical, it's boring, or it's already debunked. Same with federal fraud. Stories are isolated, compartmentalized, and quickly memory hold, right? The media doesn't say anything false outright. They just refuse to connect anything. Election irregularities, they're one story. FEMA fraud is another. Image scrubbing is treated as gossip. No connective tissue allowed. That's the trick. Because once these stories start touching, the narrative breaks. Joe Rogan noticed this instinctively. Millions did too. Comment down below if you noticed it too. The outrage wasn't about what he said. It was more like what he noticed. Now, in today's media ecosystem, curiosity is tolerated only when it points in approved directions. Everything else gets smothered with indifference. Then, check this out. This is when skepticism met the receipts. So FEMA, this is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they exist to help Americans during disasters, right? Well, that's what they're supposed to do. This is why this indictment of Sheila Surfalis McCormick, a sitting Florida Democrat, hit differently. Now, this wasn't a theory. This wasn't social media speculation. This was a criminal charge alleging the theft of $5 million in FEMA funds. I'm talking about disaster money, money that was meant for people who lost everything. And once that indictment dropped, the conversation changed, because now the pattern Rogan reacted to wasn't hypothetical, it was documented. Now, for years, critics were told claims of government waste were exaggerated. Then the Department of Justice stepped in and confirmed one of the worst versions of it. Now, here's the tension. If this case made it to indictment, how many others never will? How much fraud stays buried because it never crosses the threshold of inconvenience for the people in power? You see where I'm going with this, right? This is where the story stops being abstract and it becomes undeniable. So the Department of Justice didn't speculate, it indicted. According to federal prosecutors, Sheila Surfalis McCormick allegedly diverted $5 million in FEMA funds routed through contracts and laundered for personal and political benefit. Can you believe that? Now, these aren't talking points. That is a charging document, and the numbers matter. $5 million is not some clerical error. This is a threshold. It is the line where excuses collapse. When the DOJ brings charges like this, it means evidence cleared multiple internal gates, which kind of raises the obvious question that Joe Rogan's audience is already asking themselves. If this made it all the way to indictment, how many similar cases never even see daylight, right? Like, this can't be the only one. How many disappear at the audit stage? How many get waved off as administrative issues? The danger isn't just the crime, it's the filter. How many people's backs got scratched? You scratch mine, I scratch yours, and I'll look the other way and we cash these checks on the back. You see what I'm saying here? Because selective enforcement, it doesn't just punish wrongdoing, it quietly teaches people which rules actually matter. Then came the moment that made everything feel familiar. As scrutiny intensified around Sheila Surfalis McCormick, observers noticed something strange. A luxury ring, visible in earlier photos, was suddenly gone. Luxury ring suddenly gone, but it was there in earlier photos. Not returned, not explained, edited out. So now this isn't about jewelry, it's about instinct. When people are innocent, they explain. When they're confident, they clarify. Editing images is a completely different response. It's damage control. And Americans realize it because they've seen it before, from corporations, politicians, and institutions trying to get ahead of narrative instead of addressing it. This is why the story went viral, not because of gossip, but because the pattern fit. Election procedures got skipped, FEMA money charged, DOJ indictment, image scrubbing, silence from mainstream media. Joe Rogan didn't invent that sequence, he reacted to it. And once you recognize a sequence, it stops feeling random. This is the moment everything snaps into focus. Joe Rogan wasn't reacting to one headline, he was reacting to a sequence. Election irregularities in Fulton County, Georgia. Massive government spending routed through NGOs. A confirmed FEMA fraud indictment. A quiet photo edit. And then the familiar response. Media silence. Compartmentalization. Dismissal. That's the pattern. It's not conspiracy. It's not speculation. Recurrence. Independent events that just keep lining up the exact same way, benefiting the same political ecosystem, protected by the same institutional instincts. Joe Rogan didn't say this proves everything. He did something far more dangerous. He noticed. And once people notice the patterns, they stop relying on authority to interpret reality for them. That's why the backlash was so intense. The red pill moment isn't about choosing sides. The red pill moment is about realizing that you're being asked to forget what you just saw. It's almost like the Men in Black moment. Let me go ahead and flashy thing you right quick. You know what I'm saying? And that realization spreads real fast because millions of Americans, they're experiencing the exact same thing at the same time, quietly connecting the dots that we were told doesn't exist. Don't let them flashy thing you. I've already warned you now. All right, so here's a firewall, okay? Election issues are discussed in isolation. Fraud cases are treated as bad apples, and media scandals are brushed off as gossip. Each story is kept in its own box. No connective tissue allowed. Because once these stories start touching, the system is ultimately exposed. Mainstream media plays a crucial role here, but not by lying outright, but by enforcing separation. They decide what stories may coexist in the public's mind. And when somebody like Joe Rogan ignores those boundaries, the reaction is immediate and it's hostile. Why? Because narrative control depends on fragmentation. If Americans start zooming out, asking how election procedures and federal spending and enforcement decisions actually intersect, trust in the gatekeepers collapses. That's the real threat. Not misinformation, not pattern recognition. That is why these stories are being buried under labels like already debunked or isolated incident, because once the public connects them, there's no one seeing it. Now, with Donald J. Trump back in office as president of the United States, this conversation is no longer hypothetical or historical. The stakes just changed. Questions that were brushed aside in 2021 and 2022, they're now front and center again. Not because Trump is demanding them, but because the public never stopped asking them. Institutional trust doesn't reset with a new news cycle, it carries forward. And now, with a second Trump presidency, unresolved election concerns, federal fraud cases, and selective enforcement patterns, they're no longer just political arguments. They're governance issues. Investigations, audits, reforms, they now have consequences. That's why resistance to even revisiting these topics is so fierce. It's not about protecting democracy. It's about protecting narratives that survive by avoiding scrutiny. Joe Rogan's red pill moment just landed a little bit differently because the context changed. The questions aren't coming from fringe anymore. They're coming from the center of a culture, and they're coming at a moment when accountability actually matters again. So this is where the video ends, but not the conversation. You see, Joe Rogan didn't tell anybody what to believe. He showed what happened when someone refuses to ignore what's right in front of them. Fulton County, 315,000 unsigned votes, a $5 million FEMA fraud indictment, a ring quietly edited out, media silence, institutional defensiveness. I mean, you're not being asked to reach a conclusion. You're just being asked why noticing patterns has become taboo, why curiosity triggers outrage, why connecting dots is treated as dangerous. This is the real red pill moment. Because once you see how often these stories follow the same arc, minimize, isolate, forget, you stop waiting for permission to think. That is why this moment went viral. Not because of Joe Rogan himself, but because millions of people recognize the pause. That moment right there, when something clicks and you realize the hardest thing to do, the hardest thing to control isn't information, it's awareness. And once awareness spreads, there ain't no going back.